Hey everyone. So you guys wanted to know more about how South Africa could create jobs for young people, especially in manufacturing.
Right.
And it's interesting because while manufacturing as a share of their economy has kind of shrunk. Like it's
Yeah.
gone from being over 21% in 1994 down to under 12% today.
Yeah.
So you would think that wouldn't be a great area for jobs, but
Right.
this report from the Future of Jobs Summit that we're looking at, they think this is the perfect time for a comeback.
Uh-huh.
So let's dig into it and see what they have to say.
Yeah. So I think what's interesting is that the decline itself is part of the opportunity.
Oh,
You
yeah.
think about globalization and cheaper labor in other parts of the world, those
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
hit South African manufacturing pretty hard.
Yeah.
But now there's this chance to rebuild and focus on what South Africa can do
Better than anyone else. Yeah.
better than anyone else.
Okay, so I get that, but I guess my question is, why focus on manufacturing? Specifically, are there other sectors that could create jobs for young people?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about manufacturing is it's just inherently labor intensive,
Mm-hmm.
especially in areas like textiles, agro-processing, building materials.
Right,
Those types of jobs just aren't going away anytime soon.
right.
And, we're not just talking about putting people on assembly lines either.
Oh, okay.
I mean, think about robotics technicians, 3D printing specialists, people who design and maintain all these complex machines.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a whole spectrum of skills needed in modern manufacturing.
Okay, so that makes me think of something that came up in the script when I was reading it, which is this skills gap.
Okay.
They talk about a skills revolution, which would be overhauling their whole technical and vocational education and training system, the TVT system.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of wondering, is South Africa's education system really equipped to handle that kind of big change?
Right.
What makes you optimistic that they could pull that off?
Well, the good news is they know. There's already this recognition that the current system isn't really working.
Okay.
And this script really calls out that they need to revamp their curriculums to teach the skills that industries are actually demanding right now.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Not just like the traditional trades. So think like PLC programming,
Okay.
mechatronics, even software development. I mean, those are really the skills that are going to power a modern competitive manufacturing sector.
So it's not just about teaching people how to operate a machine. It's about them understanding like the tech behind the machine.
Right.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But even if we get people with the right skills, I mean, don't manufacturers need other kinds of support?
Uh-huh.
Like especially the smaller ones.
Yeah, you're hitting on a really crucial point there. I mean,
Mhm.
small and medium enterprises, we call those SMEs.
Yeah.
Those are really the backbone of any economy, but they often struggle to, get financing,
Yeah.
reach new markets,
Oh.
or even just get the advice and mentorship they need to grow.
Right.
So this script talks about giving them subsidies, making it easier to access loans, and even helping SMEs connect with international buyers.
Wow.
Did you know that in South Africa, SMEs account for over 60% of employment?
Really? Wow, okay, that's a lot.
So unlocking their potential is really huge for South Africa.
Okay, so we're talking about opportunities.
Right.
This next strategy really seems to tap into a global trend, which is green manufacturing.
Yeah.
It's super exciting, but honestly, I'm a little bit skeptical.
Okay.
Isn't South Africa already struggling with reliable energy?
Uh-huh.
How can they, power all these new green industries?
Right. It's definitely a challenge, but it's also where the innovation comes in.
Okay.
So think about it. As the world moves toward renewable energy, the
Mhm.
demand for things like solar panels, wind turbines, battery storage,
Yeah.
that's only going up.
Right.
South Africa could be like a major player in that space. I mean, not just manufacturing for themselves, but for export too.
Right.
And then the jobs created in those industries, they're future-proof and environmentally friendly,
Yeah.
which is a huge draw for young people.
Yeah, that makes me think of when I first learned about, solar panel installation jobs. And
Yeah.
I was like, wait, people get paid to put those up. That's
Wow.
so cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the skills. We're supporting small businesses. We're tapping into this green wave. What else?
Well, you can't really have a thriving manufacturing sector without the infrastructure to support it.
Right.
And so this script talks about modernizing the existing industrial parks
Mhm.
and building entirely new ones that are smart and tech-enabled.
Okay.
So imagine like factories with sensors that optimize their energy use, robots working alongside humans, and like super efficient logistics systems.
Hold on. When you say a smart tech-enabled industrial park,
Yeah.
Paint me a picture. What does that actually look like in real life?
Yeah, I'm thinking like a network of interconnected factories and data is being shared instantly so they can adjust production based on demand. 3D printers making custom parts as they're needed, and like predictive maintenance systems so they identify problems before they even happen.
Oh, wow.
It's really about using all the technology to create the most efficient and productive environment possible.
Okay, that is starting to sound less like a traditional factory and more like something out of a sci-fi movie.
All right.
But I mean, wouldn't all of that require just massive investment?
Yeah.
Where is that going to come from?
Well, that brings us to the last piece of the puzzle, global partnerships.
Okay.
South Africa just can't do this on their own.
Right.
And this script really emphasizes how important it is to attract investment from leading international companies.
Uh-huh.
And not just for the money, but also for the skills and technology they bring.
Oh, yeah.
So imagine like a South African company partnering with a German firm known for robotics.
Yeah.
I mean, that's hands-on learning right there.
Yeah.
And potential for lots of jobs.
Absolutely. Okay, so these 5 strategies, I mean, they're the skills revolution.
Right.
We're talking about empowering those SMEs,
Yeah.
focusing on green manufacturing,
Uh-huh.
modernizing that infrastructure, and then forging those global partnerships.
Right.
It kind of seems like they all fit together like pieces of a puzzle.
Uh-huh.
But even if South Africa does all of that perfectly, is it enough to really make a difference in their youth unemployment problem?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, it is a really complex problem.
Yeah.
But what's exciting about this approach is it's not just about, creating any jobs.
Right.
It's about creating good jobs,
Mm-hmm.
sustainable jobs
Yeah.
that can really give young people a way out of poverty.
Yeah.
And I think if South Africa can get this right,
Yeah.
the impact could be huge, not just for the economy, but for society as a whole.
So this Future of Jobs Summit that keeps coming up in this report, this isn't just a bunch of academics sitting around like theorizing, right?
Right.
This is about actually making things happen.
Yeah, that's the key here.
Okay.
It's really action-oriented. It brings together government, industry, educators,
Yeah.
even young people, to like figure out how to make these strategies a reality.
Okay.
Identify the roadblocks and make a plan to get things moving.
That's what I like about this deep dive.
Yeah.
It's not just theoretical. It's based on something real.
Right.
And I mean, South Africa's youth unemployment it's pretty bad.
It's staggering.
Yeah, it's got to be so frustrating for these young people
Yeah.
who are ready to work but just can't find anything.
Exactly. And that's what's really powerful about this focus on manufacturing.
Okay.
It's not just about like boosting GDP.
Right.
It's about, giving an entire generation the tools and opportunities to build a future.
For themselves and their country.
Yeah, for themselves and their country.
So, okay, let's step back for a second. We've talked about the strategies, the challenges.
Right.
What are like the biggest things you're taking away from this so far?
For me, it's this realization that manufacturing, which we often think of as like an industry of the past,
Yeah.
could actually be the key to a more sustainable and inclusive future.
Uh-huh.
It's about like challenging the old assumptions,
Okay.
embracing new technology,
Right.
and really putting young people front and center.
You know what I find really inspiring is
Yeah.
that this isn't just about South Africa.
Right.
I mean, if they can do this, it could be a model for other countries with these same problems.
Yeah.
It's like a blueprint for like inclusive and sustainable development,
Absolutely.
proving that economic growth and social progress can happen together.
Absolutely. The lessons learned here could have a global impact.
Yeah.
Imagine other countries looking at South Africa and saying,
Yeah.
hey, they figured out how to use manufacturing to empower their youth, create good jobs, and build a greener economy.
Yeah.
We could do that too.
Okay, so as we're wrapping up this deep dive,
Yeah.
what's the one thing you want our listener to take away from all of this?
I want them to walk away feeling hopeful.
Okay.
The challenges are there, but so are the opportunities.
Yeah.
And if South Africa can shift its perspective,
Yeah.
embrace innovation, and work together,
Yeah.
they can really unlock the power of manufacturing to create a brighter future.
That's a powerful message.
Yeah.
So, the report didn't go into too much detail about specific industries,
Right.
but they did mention like textiles, agro-processing, renewable energy.
Yeah.
What do you think has the most potential?
That's a great question. And I think the beauty of this approach is that it's not about picking winners and losers.
Right.
It's about creating a system where all these different manufacturing industries can thrive,
Okay.
and each one contributes to job growth in its own way.
So it's about diversity and like not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Right.
But are there any areas that you're personally excited about?
Well, if I had to pick a few,
Yeah.
I'd say green manufacturing is definitely one to watch.
Okay.
As the world moves towards a more sustainable future,
Uh-huh.
the demand for renewable energy is only going to go up.
Right.
And South Africa, with all that sun and wind,
Yeah.
is in a great position to lead the way.
It's like taking a global problem and turning it into a local opportunity.
Exactly.
And it's not just about making the technology.
Right.
It's also about the research, the installation, the maintenance.
Yeah, the whole value chain.
Yeah, there are jobs at every level.
Absolutely.
And then there's agro-processing, which plays to South Africa's strength in agriculture.
Right.
Adding value to those agricultural products
Yeah.
can create jobs, boost exports,
Uh-huh.
and even improve food security.
That's right.
So it's about taking something they're already good at, agriculture, and taking it to the next level.
And exactly.
Now, the script didn't mention any specific companies,
Right.
but are there any South African manufacturers who are already doing cool stuff to create jobs for young people?
Absolutely. And that's what's so encouraging about this.
Yeah.
There's a real spirit of innovation happening in South African manufacturing right now.
Uh-huh.
You've got companies using 3D printing to make prosthetic limbs,
Wow.
companies developing cutting-edge solar solutions,
Uh-huh.
and companies revitalizing those traditional textile industries
Right.
with
Right.
new designs and techniques.
So it's not just a vision for the future. It's
Yeah.
already happening.
It's happening now.
That's great.
Yeah. And that's what I hope our listeners take away from this.
Yeah.
A sense of hope and inspiration.
Uh-huh.
The potential is there. The will is there.
Yeah.
And with the right approach and some collaboration, South Africa can really turn its manufacturing sector into this engine for job creation
Yeah.
and opportunity for young people.
And maybe even inspire other countries to follow their lead.
Exactly.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
My pleasure.
We hope you found it informative and thought-provoking.
Yeah.
And remember, if you want to learn more about specific manufacturing companies or industries in South Africa,
Right.
there are tons of resources available online. So keep exploring, keep learning, and keep the conversation going.
Absolutely.
Until next time. You know, it's pretty amazing to think about just how much innovation is already happening,
Yeah.
even if we don't hear about it all the time.
Right.
It seems like South Africa is really at like a turning point here. They've got
Yeah.
the resources, they've got the talent, and now with these strategies, a real plan for the future.
Right.
But here's what I keep thinking about.
Right.
Let's say, like, South Africa really does become this manufacturing powerhouse.
Yeah.
What could that do for the world?
That's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Because if they can show that manufacturing can drive economic growth and social progress at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
that you can create good jobs and be environmentally responsible.
Yeah.
That sends a huge message to everyone.
It's like setting a new standard,
Yeah.
showing that things can be done differently.
Exactly. And don't forget, this is a country that's overcome some massive challenges.
Yeah.
If South Africa can do this, it can inspire other countries to rethink how they approach industrialization.
Especially like developing countries.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like a beacon of hope,
Yeah.
showing that sustainable growth isn't just this like impossible dream.
Right.
And think about like what it means for global politics.
Yeah.
A strong and economically independent South Africa, I mean, they could really become a major player on the world stage,
Right.
not just for trade, but for shaping the future of manufacturing.
Exactly.
So it's bigger than just South Africa.
Yeah.
It's about potentially changing how the whole world thinks about manufacturing.
That's right.
That's a pretty incredible thing to aim for.
It is.
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling really optimistic after this deep dive. It's easy to get caught up in all the bad news, but this has really shown me that there's so much potential out there.
That's the power of these deep dives.
Yeah.
Right? You start to see the connections,
Mhm.
the potential, how all these different things can come together
Yeah.
to create real change.
And I hope our listeners are feeling that too, that excitement, that sense of possibility.
Right.
Who knows, maybe they'll be inspired to learn more about South African manufacturing. Maybe even invest in some of these companies.
Yeah, that's when things really start to happen.
Yeah.
When people see the potential, not just for themselves,
Right.
but for making the world a better place.
That's a great point to end on.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into manufacturing in South Africa.
it was my pleasure.
We hope you learned a lot and that it gave you some things to think about.
Absolutely.
And hey, if you want to keep learning about this,
Yeah.
there's a ton of information out there. So keep learning, keep asking questions,
Right.
and most importantly, never stop believing that things can change for the better.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
We'll see you next time.